Hello and welcome everybody. My name is Chris Rowan and I'd like to talk to you today about bases. Now what a basis is not the home plate you see here. Sorry, baseball enthusiasts, I'm just not saying baseball isn't cool and all, but it's just not my angle here. I'm surely not talking about the bases in which our armed forces working out of either. And I'm probably disappointing a lot of my fellow brothers and sisters in arms because I take being in service very seriously. I've been doing it for about 17 years. By now, you're probably saying, what kind of bass is he talking about? Well, I'm talking about the electric bass seen here. Besides coming up with ideas for games I'm creating, I'm going to have a bass guitar and drum player. Music is my other passion, and listening to the undertonish growl of the bass really gets my blood pumping. Now, of course, I can't go into talking about the bass without first mentioning some of my idols. Uh, First one seen here is Cliff Burton of Metallica. His bass grooves were known for the to shape the background of Metallica while still having fun. Cliff unfortunately met with his demise in 1986. My next choice is Sir Paul McCartney. I don't think I have to mention what bands he was in, but Paul McCartney, was knighted by Queen Elizabeth II on March 11th of 1997. Knighting by the Queen is said to be one of the highest honors in England. Now, I'd like to venture a little bit into the history of the electric bass. Uh, it's said that it was invented around 1930s by musician, inventor, and manufacturer Paul Tutmeyer. Uh, he's noted to invent and develop the first electric bass, which is seen here. And of course, in about the 1950s, Leo Fender developed the first mass-produced electric guitar. Fender styled his bass after the similar design of his Telecaster. Now, most bass players will go back and forth on who actually invented the bass, but it's still up for grabs. Now, what I'd like to talk about here is what makes it different from a guitar, and what here is what we call the pickup. Uh, Most basses have what's called a coil pickup, uh, and that's what makes the bass pretty much a bass. The strings are probably the most single important part of the bass itself. Um, those are also what makes the bass a bass. Uh, Seeing as how basses have a heavier and deeper sound than guitars, the strings need to be thicker, and choosing the right size and thickness, that's a big challenge. Um, the body here provides what we call the sustain of the bass. Although the topic is still unanswered by even professionals, the fundamentals are based upon the player's preference. Now, most basses are a heavy, solid structure, but the sound depends on the wood that you use. The neck of the bass seen here is what we call the heart of the instrument. Um, Again, the neck is curved or carved out of wood or multiple of woods. The neck also provides the resonance of the tone of the bass. The neck and headstock, which is seen here, are usually carved out of one single piece of wood. The headstock holds the tuning machines or pegs. The importance of those is they hold the strings. The design headstock can make or break the instrument because the headstock of the bass controls the whole aesthetics of the bass. Now, bass amps are considered what we call the voice of the guitar. This makes the bass, well, sing. There are a lot of different types of bass amps out there, and you have to choose the right one for you. Bass amps are a lot different than guitar amps because they're made for one purpose: to handle the low, deep ends of the bass itself. Here we have pedals, and what they do are effects. And what they do is they add sound to the bass guitar itself. Like the amps, there's a lot of pedals out there that do a lot of different things. What I'd like to get in here is what's called uh, the bass clef versus the treble clef. Now, for you guys that understand music, and by all means, I'm not trying to be or insult anybody, but the difference here is very relevant. While the treble clef, which is on top, is in the key of G, the bass clef on the bottom is in the key of F. I added this tuning chart to show you the different keys that the bass can be tuned in. Notice the small B. That's really not a small B. It's what we call the flat sign, and hashtag is also the anyway. Wrap things up. I wanted to show you my two basses. This is my Dean Edge 1. I've had it for about 3 years. It has a basswood body, rosewood fingerboard, and a maple neck. And my other bass here, I'm sorry, is my Ibanez SR 400. This is a maple body and neck, rosewood fretboard. I've had this for about 6 months. Pretty nice bass. I usually keep lighter strings on this one. I tune it to E because I usually do more of a jazzy slap pop kind of deal on it. And before I got this Roland amp, I was playing a small practice guitar amp. Like I said earlier, bass amps are made a whole lot different. This particular amp is like having 6 amps in one, and it has a lot of power. So you don't want to put your bass in a guitar amp because you'll end up blowing it up. Um, Now that you have a little bit more understanding of the basses, I hope you go out and try to get an instrument. Like I said earlier, I play two different types of instruments, and I enjoy making music as much as games. And I am out of time. Thanks for watching.